Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Man Cave Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Casper. As always, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Man Cave Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all over the place. And as always, if you could, 5-star rating, positive review, because that helps others find the Man Cave Podcast. Also available on YouTube, and a lot of our episodes now come with video. So on this episode, it's almost Halloween, so we're going to go with a little bit of a spookier route, and we're going to talk with paranormal investigator Christ Weiner, one of the founders of the Chippewa Valley Paranormal Investigators, is also one of the hosts of the Haunted Chippewa Valley History Tour. He has written books, and he has been on TV shows. Joining us now is no stranger to the program. Has it been a couple of times? 2, 3, 4 times, I think?
4 or 5,
somewhere
18.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, it's usually every other year or so that we get together, yeah.
Yeah. Christ Weiner joining us from the Haunted Chippewa History Tour, right? Are you doing investigations once in a while?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I got a really cool one we can talk about here in a little
bit. All right, nice. Well, it's Halloween time, so it's obviously a very, very busy time for you and such. So we appreciate you taking some time, and it gets me to get to talk about some of my favorite stuff.
For the captain, anytime.
I appreciate it, man. So, how long have you been doing investigations and tours?
So the tour's been going on for 20 years now.
20 years now.
20 years. And when we were joking earlier that next year it turns 21, so we can hit the bar at that point. So,
nice.
So we might actually do a haunted bar crawl or something next year just for the 21 years. So.
Now, didn't you mention about doing like a book at one point about like haunted bars?
Yep. Yeah. I'm still working on that.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest barriers to that is bars so often open and close and change hands that it's really hard to keep tabs on it. Not only that, but by the time you write a book, everything's changed. Like the Brass Lantern in Chippewa Falls used to be Irvine Ghost Bob, and before that was Irvine Bar, but it keeps changing hands all the time, so it's hard to keep track of that stuff.
Right, exactly. So, Sheely House is still there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a good one there, too. I don't think you'll have a shortage of potential ghost tour bars to hit up in Chippewa. So, but when did you start investigating then and doing cases?
It was right after I met my first wife. We both were, I probably shouldn't say this, we used to like to go into abandoned houses, young, dumb, and we would go into abandoned houses and go check them all out, and eventually it kind of turned to, because we both had a belief in the paranormal, and we said, hey, maybe we should start investigating or in helping people out, doing research, and it kind of turned to that. And then we formed the Chippewa Valley Paranormal Investigators about 22 years ago.
Okay.
Right after Ghost Hunters came out, because it became socially acceptable to do that. Before that, it was kind of like, ooh, you do what? Weird. But now it's like, whoa, you do what? So it's a lot better now.
I think it might have been like a Instagram or TikTok videos. I don't know who it was, but they're like, well, what was what is the GOAT, or what was the GOAT of paranormal shows and all that? Do you think Ghost Hunters, that show, kind of kicked off this trend or wave where you kind of mentioned it was a little bit more acceptable and such? Or
for sure. There were shows before that.
Like Unsolved Mysteries a little bit dabbled in.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was still fringe stuff. People still didn't actively say, I investigate the paranormal.
Right.
Because you didn't want to be looked at like a pariah or something. Like, ooh, no. Crosses.
Right.
No. So, but yeah, no, it really opened up the door for a lot of people to, to openly do what they do.
Yeah. And I know you go way back, you got Ed and Lorraine Warren and all that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, but you look back then and they were, kind of like, I don't want to say they started. Like Harry Price back in the early 1900s was really kind of like the godfather of all of it. But yeah, Ed and Lorraine Warren definitely brought it to the forefront with, bringing it to the media more. But I still think that a lot of people look at them like they were a little off kilter. and I hate to say that about them, but but really when you talk to a lot of people, that's what they'll tell you.
Mm-hmm. Right. So was there, you mentioned, going into abandoned house, was there like a, I kind of know already, but for first time listeners, was there like an experience that maybe kind of got you into the paranormal more, like a personal one that you're comfortable sharing?
Yeah.
Or anything like that?
So when I was 8 years old, we lived in this house down in Texas, and I was half asleep, and I thought I heard the clock in the living room ring 13 times. And I was like, well, that's weird. So I got up out of my little bed and kind of wandered in the living room, rubbing my eyes, and I swear to all that is holy that I saw this, I would say, leprechaun size of a guy at our back door. But it looked like he was trying to jimmy the lock, even though the lock, the turny bit's on the inside. But it looked like he was trying to mess with that. And then he turned around, looked at me, smiled, and then disappeared. Ooh. So then I walked into my parents' bedroom and told them, and they're like, "You're imagining things. You just go back to bed. Quit watching so much TV." And they kind of did that for a long time. So it just kind of. But then I started looking into it, and I'm like, there's all these books, and not just fictional books, but books about paranormal and a lot of just people like Pliny the Elder from Rome, a big scholar writing about ghostly experiences. Shakespeare often had ghosts in his stories, and there's even ghosts in the Bible. It's everywhere. So it makes you say, is it fake? There seems to be something to it. So.
And then during your investigations and such, has that kind of solidified your beliefs in that? Like maybe there is something later on past what we are right now. Is that kind of solidified it for you, or questioned it more?
I don't know that it's solidified. I was pretty solid after I had an experience after my first father-in-law passed away. Hold on, I'm trying to put this together. So my son, back in the day when he was really little, liked to be driven around the block to go to sleep. He would not just go to bed. He wouldn't, couldn't be rocked to sleep. He had to get in the truck and be driven around the block. Well, I had my father-in-law's truck at the time after he passed away. And we were driving, and he was taking an extra long time to go to bed. And all of a sudden, he screamed out in pain. And I'm like, what's going on? And I turned on the dome light, and while I'm driving, okay, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with him. And I realize, and then all of a sudden, I hear my father-in-law's voice in the backseat of the truck say, "Chris, look up." And I look up, and there's a stop sign. So I'm pumping the brakes and downshifting because it's an old truck. But I'm downshifting, and we go through the intersection, and I end up T-boning this other truck. And after sitting back and thinking about it, if I hadn't done all that, we would have been the one getting T-boned. And it probably would have killed my son. And so at that point, if I wasn't already there, this is real, that put it over for me. I'm like, yep, there's an afterlife, and Dad's looking over us. And so, it was a huge moment.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful. Yeah. That is really powerful. Can you tell the story too? Because I know this one, was it you and your friend were jogging? Was it Irvin Park?
Yeah, this is part of the tour, actually. So my best friend Brad and I used to run 12 miles a day, and we would run various routes. But the one night we were running through Irvin Park. And yes, it's Irvin, not Irvine.
That's why I made sure to say Irvin, right? Too. So
Mr. Kinville would be very, very upset if we called it anything else. Okay. Anyway, as we were running, we got to the top of Flag Hill, and we both just kind of stopped. There was no signal, no kind of like, hey, do you see that or anything else? We just stopped. And there was this apparition of a man standing there. And we stood there for what I'm guessing is like a minute and a half. And then it kind of disappeared, just faded out. And then we just started running again. Again, no, hey, let's go, hey, whatever. And we just ran, and we never talked about it for years. And I'm guessing it's because we're men; we don't talk about things, and that unless it's sports,
Right.
right.
Yep.
But also, we didn't want to be the crazy one. Well, several years after I met my first wife, and we started investigating the paranormal, we were talking. He's like, "Chris, why are you doing this?" And I said, "Well, you remember that ghost in the park, right?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Thank God, I'm not crazy. You're not crazy." So then we started researching that, and come to find out that back in 1912, there was a 75-year-old gentleman who had taken his life in that very spot that we saw the apparition. So now, not only did we have this shared experience, but we had a corroborating story saying, "Hey, this could have really been a thing." And so that was another one of those experiences that just kind of cemented it down.
Right. So going back to your experience when you were an 8-year-old to like a thing like that, what would you say that leprechaun or troll figure, what is that, like a demonic sort of thing, or how would you classify something like that?
It's funny you say that, because that's what my parents did. They were like, later on they became super uber Christian. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that was their belief system. And like they swore that I was playing with demons and the devil himself when I was doing, or when I'm doing this. They've come more to the dark side since then. But where was I going with that? Oh, as far as what I think it is now, it could have been, you know what? I don't know. I mean, like I said, it was a very small human. It wasn't a child, because, I mean, literally, maybe it's my mind filling in things. And I mean, it's been way too many years since that happened. Not going to give that away. But yeah, my brain has kind of filled it in. It might have been somebody that died near there, or I don't know. I just don't. I just know that I saw it, and it looked real as heck to me, and it felt real as heck to me. Scared the living bejeebus out of me. So, and was my first one that I remember, and really drove me to where I'm at.
Has, like, with your investigations and your research and that, has that opened up the possibility of other stuff, whether it's like a cryptozoology or anything like that? Is that something that's opened up your mind that way, or are you more of like, I got to see evidence, more evidence kind of sort of thing?
I'm a big evidence guy.
Yeah.
And not that I don't believe in Bigfoot per se, because I think Bigfoot is definitely a possibility. I mean, we can only explore so much. And granted, things have kind of shrunk down with like the invention of, what's the word? Oh, drone. That's the word I'm looking for. Drones that have infrared and thermal cameras on them, so they can see everything that's in the woods that we couldn't see before. But I still think there's a lot of room for give. And again, it's one of those things where there's so many stories out there that it's hard to believe that it's not a fact.
Right.
I mean, I still want proof. I would love proof, but it's hard to ignore all the stories out there. So I believe in Bigfoot. I mean, or I want to believe in Bigfoot. I really want to. I really want to see one.
Yep.
But I think most of us do.
I'm the same way. Oh yeah.
And then UFOs. I've always believed UFOs. I think UFOs are. It's ridiculous to think that we're the only planet in the entire universe, especially with it being billions of years old. Somebody had to figure out a way to traverse. Now, I don't know if they're going around, probing people or whatever, but I believe there is life out there, and whether or not UFOs is just something native to the earth that's hidden itself from man and or humans, or if it's somebody from way out there.
Right. Now, you've been on numerous TV shows and such too. I've seen highlighting local cases that you've investigated and such. Would you say those are probably your more famous cases?
Well, I mean, obviously famous because they're on TV, but
right.
As far as I think the biggest question I get is, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah.
And the scariest thing that I've ever seen does not involve ghosts at all. one was a house that was so just incredibly dirty that it was. I don't know how somebody would live like that. I mean, it was like kind of like an episode of Hoarders in a way. And I remember the lady was embarrassed for me to go in her basement because it was so dirty down there. And I got down there, and it was the cleanest part of the house. And it had dirt walls and floor, and it was the cleanest part of the house. You know?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I think, you know what? I'm going to hang out down here. This is actually better than being upstairs. And then one other case where it really wasn't a case. We went out to interview this guy, and honestly, I think the guy was a serial killer.
Ooh.
Yeah, let me throw that story to you real quick.
Yeah.
I'll try to brief it down as much as possible. This guy, right after I wrote the second book, Spirits of the Chippewa, this guy started calling me, telling me he thought it was destined to be, and he wanted me to write his story. And that he also wanted us to investigate his house. So we started to drive out there, Shelly and I, and she looked at me and she goes, "Did you tell anybody we're going here?" I said, "No, I mean, some guy, whatever, harmless." She goes, "No, call somebody, let them know." So we called another investigator and said, "Hey, we're going to this house. We'll be there in about half an hour, and if you don't hear from us in 2 hours, call us, and if we don't answer, then call the cops. This is the address, da-da-da-da-da." I don't know what was bugging her or whatever, but in the end, I'm glad because so we get there, and I don't want to go deep into this guy's story because there's some pretty heart-wrenching parts of the story. But one phrase that started becoming very common while telling his story was, "And now I can see how a man would want to kill another man." And I'm like starting to get a little freaked out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then his boyfriend showed up, and his boyfriend was fresh out of Minnesota prison for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Oh, boy.
And all of a sudden, after he showed up and they started talking a little bit more about things that they had seen there in their house, this guy jumps out of his chair. Now, this is a feat in and of itself because I swear this guy was about 500 pounds. Kind of looked like Jabba the Hutt sitting in his chair. And literally jumps out of his chair and he goes, "Oh, I got to take you to the basement." Right? No. And he's like, "Well, come on. I got to say, let's say, look, this is the way I want to put it. Like, we don't want to go down there and get any preconceived ideas before we come with our investigation gear because we're a scientific type group and I don't want to sway. No. You got to come down there." Now, at this point, boyfriend is blocking really the only way out. And we're like, no, we got to go. Well, then as soon as we say, no, we got to go, two people on either side of because it was like two trailers put together, more or less. These two other guys come popping out of rooms on either end and start to come in. And we're like, what? And Shelly being like, I don't know, what do you call it? John Coon friggin' bowls right through the boyfriend. And we head out the door and get in the car and start driving. And I called the sheriff's department on the way out. And I said, I don't know this for sure or whatever, but you might want to go check out this house. They live right on a lake, plenty of places to put dead bodies. And he kept talking about killing people or seeing how somebody could kill somebody. And you might want to investigate. We never heard anything back about that. And the guy kept calling. I ended up like changing the phone number because he would just leave message after message after message. And I'm like, nope.
No way.
So, yeah, that's that story about as brief as I can make it.
Yeah. Oh, God, that would give me creeps, too. Right? So, holy moly. I know, with cases and that, we keep them personal. A lot of people don't want them shared and such, too. Is there any ones that kind of stick to your mind that you are able to kind of share?
Well, let me tell you the latest.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law has been begging me for years for him to be able to take me out to the Carson Inn in Kewanee.
Okay.
And we drove there. Oh yeah, it was like an anniversary thing for me and my wife. We went out there right in early September, or was it mid? Anyway, we get out there and this place, the Carson Inn, has been on like Ghost Brothers.
Okay.
Which I had never watched Brothers until after we left there, and then I watched it. I actually liked what they do. It seems pretty decent. Their editing is a little choppy, but other than that, it's a good show from what I can tell. All right. Anyway, we get there, and the guy there is super nice, and I'm not trying to advertise for him, but if you ever get a chance to go to Karsten and do it, I mean, this guy, treat us like family. He's like bringing us food, not charging us, just bringing us food, and he led us into the bar area, and we had drinks, and it was a good time. It really was. But anyway, there's just a lot of really interesting energy there, and I still, unfortunately, because stuff that we talked about before, I haven't had time to go through all the evidence. I've made it through a majority of the audio, which has been pretty blank, or hard to tell because there was some other mitigating. It's a hotel,
right?
But I haven't gone through all the video yet, which is a little more tedious. Trying to watch it in slow motion and making sure that we are not missing anything. But there's definitely like some areas where, like, I'm trying to remember. There was some weird noises coming, and the one time it was a crow. I was sitting outside the window, which scared the crap out of my brother-in-law. And then we have these little, I don't know, little balls that light up when they move, and we put them on the floor. And at one point, the one started rolling a little bit, and it lit up. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention to the camera at that point. At that point, that camera had run out of battery, and I needed to replace it. I was like, oh, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Of course now."
Right.
But just there was this energy because they said that one of the maids was having a tryst with Captain Karsten himself, that the hotel is named after, and that she was kind of like a scorned lover, and that she really doesn't like guys. And we walked into what would have been, I think her name was it Agatha or Augusta? I think it was actually, like, they say both, but we went into her room, and it got icy cold in there. And I had that feeling like, I really don't want to be in here. And we were looking around, and just, there was something that was just almost felt like it was trying to push me out of the room. But we didn't catch anything that I'm aware of. So.
Has there been any experience that from you personally that you've gone through where it's been physical in nature? Like getting pushed or hit?
There's been a few times.
Yeah.
Shelly, my first wife, was scratched a couple different times.
Okay.
I was actually scratched at the Villisca axe murder house. I was actually in the attic part where the killer allegedly hung out, and was walking out of there, again, feeling uncomfortable, but it wasn't like driving me out, but I started to go downstairs, and all of a sudden I felt like a burning sensation on my side, and I looked down, and sure enough, I had a little welt going on, and I'm like, what the heck? I went outside. There's a little barn out back, and I kind of went out there and hung out for a little bit, trying to just assess everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm. Are you like, I've heard this, people talk about this before, so like, you go on investigations and such, and people say, well, that opens doors. It opens doors to a lot of...
Oh, for sure. If you go somewhere and are expecting to see something, you're going to see something. Which is why, I don't want to say I go into a place with a closed mind, but I definitely want to see evidence before I say yes or no. And I also think that, like, say Villisca, for instance, I think Villisca is a huge case for this, is that you literally cycle thousands of people through an environment, and they're expecting to see something. They're going to leave a mark on the property, and not physical. I'm talking like emotional and mental. They're going to leave a mark, and that energy is just going to continue to not only feed the energy that's there, but make its own energy. And I think a lot of, especially, okay, so when I was in Okinawa, Japan, you go to the Cave of the Virgins, you just feel this feeling of dread. And it's because, again, literally thousands of people, not just because all those people died there, but just literally thousands upon thousands of people go there and just have this grief that they put into that place, and it just, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think all those people going through a place like that definitely changes the environment.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there different types of hauntings? Like I've seen, like, ones that are just kind of like a videotape that's just on loop.
It's funny you say that, because that's exactly the way I describe it during the tour.
Okay.
That's called a residual haunt, and it's like a VHS tape.
Mm-hmm.
It plays itself. That's a Blu-ray or a DVD for the young ones.
For the younger ones.
That just plays itself over and over and over again. It doesn't change. Gettysburg is a perfect example of this. People go out to the battlefield and claim that they watch like a battalion of soldiers wash right through them.
Mm-hmm.
But yet it doesn't, like, no recognition of the fact that they're standing there. They just keep doing what they're doing. That's because it's recording. There's no actual intelligence behind it, which is like, so let's go through the 4 classifications real quick. The second classification is the classic or intelligent haunt. That's where there is an intelligence behind it. Okay. And you go and, like, things happen. You see apparitions and you wave at it. Maybe it waves back at you.
Mm-hmm.
You get EVPs that answer questions. Tell me who the president of the United States is, Richard Nixon. So then this thing came from the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have lights turning on and off. You have TVs changing channels. You have plates thrown across. No, that was my first wife. No, sorry, Shelley. Okay. No, okay. So then the third type is the poltergeist, which gets confused with the second type because things happen physically, but it's not really a ghost. Or a spirit. It's actually a person in the house that has like a latent telekinetic ability, and whenever they undergo stress, that latent telekinetic ability comes out and things happen. And kind of like the Hulk, it's like, you don't want to make me angry, and
Mm-hmm.
but they have no idea that they're doing it, and you can have things flying across the room, lights turning on and off, like actual apparitions. They're called thought forms in that case, that are brought forward. So the poltergeist, and then the last one is the portal haunting. And portal hauntings happen around places where spirits are said to cross over. Typically hospitals, churches, morgues, cemeteries, but it can be just about anywhere. I had a friend that lived out in South Dakota that claimed that she had a portal in her house and would just talk about all the different spirits that would wander in and out of this door that, and it was never the same person twice. It was just constant, like, changing of the guard, if you would. It was crazy.
So, like, for Chippewa Falls, for instance, there's obviously you're doing a tour over there, and there's a lot of reported locations. Do you buy into theories like, well, the river's there, water provides a lot of energy? Is that? Do you buy into that? Is that part of the thought?
Water is such a mysterious substance anyway. It's the substance of life, but it's also the substance of death. I mean,
True, yeah.
Either way, and kind of like oxygen. But anyway, but yeah, I think the water acts like a recorder, or even acts as a conduit that brings forth or allows these energies to stick around.
Mm-hmm. So when it goes back to the residual haunting, is that just more of like energy that's just stuck there? Do you think that's part of an intelligent haunt, or is it just it's different than like an afterlife spirit or something?
It's different than an afterlife spirit. So the Sheely House. Okay, oops, hold on.
Got to check that auction.
Yeah.
Right?
So Logan Henderson was born on my birthday. He, a few years later, obviously. But I've really gotten down with collecting Mr. Henderson.
So Chris is a big Brewers fan, big time Brewers fan too, and card collector too, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
Although right now I'm pretty much just Nolan Ryan, Milwaukee Brewers, and I know Logan Henderson is a Brewer, but I really keyed in on Logan Henderson right now. They also have a catcher in their minor league system, Matthew Wood, who also has the same birthday as me. And he's really only got one card, and I have almost every single one of them. I'm only missing three. 2 printing plates. I have 2 printing plates. I'm missing 2 other printing plates.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And the superfractor. But the superfractor sold or was up for sale last year for $1,200. I'm not paying $1,200 for somebody that hasn't even played a day in the major leagues. And honestly, I mean, he's a good catcher, and he's better than average, but he's not like he's no William Contreras, that's for sure. So I don't think he's ever going to become anything. So I don't want to put a lot of money into it. So I'm not going to get that. Okay, we're down to 20 seconds. I'm a sniper on eBay. I wait for the last second and put in, because otherwise you somebody wants it more, they're gonna keep bidding it up. All right, 10 seconds.
This is like play-by-play action and bidding right now. I like it.
All right. Hope you're gonna be mine. Okay. Let's see. Boy, that bidding went up. There's a few other snipers out there looking for the same thing. Okay. Come on. Tell me. Purchases. Oh, okay. 1950. I hope my wife isn't listening. No, she won't care. It's only 1950. It's Logan Henderson, 2023 Bowman blue autograph, number to 150.
Oh, nice. So did you get it?
Yep, I got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, thank you for indulging me.
So, Sheely House, you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, Sheely House. Wait, what was I going to say about the Sheely House?
So, like residual haunting compared to,
residual.
Yeah.
Okay, so, the Sheely House was bought in 1905 by James Sheely. And he was looking for a way to set up his family because he had stomach cancer and was really just wanted to make sure his family was set up. He passed away, and then his wife, Kate, ran the Sheely House for a number of years until she had an accident and passed away. So then their daughter, Annie, ran the Sheely House from 1934 until like 1980 when the city of Chippewa Valley said, hey, we're going to condemn this building. Luckily, a local attorney came along and bought it and fixed it up, but she moved out and moved into a assisted living home and finished out her life there. But she lived there for daggone over 70 years. You can't tell me somebody living in one place for 70 years isn't going to leave an indelible mark on the place. I mean, if she's not an actual intelligent haunt, which I haven't seen evidence of that necessarily, but I think she most certainly is a residual haunt. There's no way she did not leave. So my father-in-law I mentioned earlier, he left a mark on the house that they lived in, and you feel him when you're there, and you can actually smell him when he's there. It's like not right away, but even it just kind of every now and then you just get that whiff, and it's almost like I'm here. I'm with you, and but that's more. I don't know if that's more intelligent. I mean, that one's more intelligent because hello, he talked to me when he saved my son.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I think the Sheely's a couple different. I think Kate might be an active ghost because I've had some mediums tell me that she didn't have an accident, that she was helped down the stairs by the owner of the bar.
Okay.
So they think that she was murdered, and that would be a good reason for someone to stick around.
Right. So, kind of starting to wrap it up, say somebody's listening to this, they want to get interested, maybe investigating or anything like that. What are some of the tips that maybe you would suggest that they do? Or, I mean, because you can Google stuff. I see they sell ghost hunting kits and all that stuff. I mean, it's all over. And maybe say, what's one of the things to prepare for the most, maybe, to get into this?
Boredom? Okay, so the first thing that I recommend is reading. Okay, you can watch all the TV you want. That's all made for TV. Okay, there are some things that you can get from watching TV, but I tell you, we take away or have taken away very few of our techniques from something that we saw on TV. We've read it all in books, and we're talking, books that are actually written about the subject, not fictional books. But yeah, grab some books on how to. Even the Ghost Hunting for Dummies is a good source. I was surprised. I buy a lot of books just because, you know. But I started digging into that one, and there's some good stuff in. I mean, there's some bad stuff too. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is you go through all these books and you find a style that is right for you. You know, I don't believe in table tipping. Like one of my mentors is a huge table tipper kind of guy, and I'm not into that so much because it's easily faked. And others believe in Ouija boards, which I'm not a huge Ouija board fan because I think it opens a portal. I mean,
Yeah.
And not only that, but there's been other scientific studies that have said, you know, that's also easily faked or it's subconsciously done. So I don't necessarily like that. But books, and then hit some paranormal conferences. Listen to what other people are saying. You know, and then also make sure that if you're not a believer in God or some religion, that at the very least that you ground yourself before you go into a haunted location, because things out there do want to attach to you. They want a way out of wherever they're at, or at the very least they want to communicate with somebody. You know, that's the big thing about intelligent haunts is that, you know, say like you were like in a room full of people, but nobody would listen to you. You want somebody to listen to you. You're going to do whatever you can. And if you go into an environment and you can actually somehow sense this, it's going to sense that. It's going to want to attach to you or at least bother you until you acknowledge it. And you definitely have to ground yourself before you go into a place like that so that you're protected.
Now, what about for anybody that may be experiencing something, they might want answers, maybe they need help? Like what should they do with that, or what's at that point that they should maybe reach out for help? I mean, you've got blessings, you've got investigators, you know.
So the first thing that I recommend is just owning your domicile or your business, or wherever it is you are, saying, this is my place, okay? Please leave, especially if it's bothering you, okay? And don't ever say, hey, you can stay if you're nice. Don't do that, okay? But say, hey, this is my house, and say it nicely, because, you know, kind of like on cop shows, you don't want to escalate. You want to de-escalate. So you go, hey, this is my house, please leave. And that works. Believe it or not, that works. Then, if that doesn't work, then the internet's a beautiful thing. You can go on there, find all kinds of blessings and prayers, and as long as you believe in conviction that's going to work, it's going to work. I used to bless houses all the time. Just as kind of like a side thing. Unfortunately, I don't do that as much anymore. I don't have time, but anybody can do it. I'm not like, you know, I didn't go to seminary school or anything else like that.
Right.
It worked for me. It can work for you. Just look it up, say it, mean it, and it works. And then if you still continue having problems, then if you are religious, go see your clergy and tell them what happened. And if the clergy can't work it out, then contact somebody like the Chippewa Valley Paranormal Investigators, and we have time on the list. Then we will definitely come and check it out.
You also give a little plug to Joseph's too.
Oh, Joseph's,
Yeah.
my favorite cheesecake place. So
Yep.
after the tour, we give out either, as too often has happened lately, at the end of the tour, we give them coupons like the ones I gave you. But like, they're already sold out by the time we get, to get to the point where it's the end of the tour. Like, oh, I can't, but I got to give you this. But no, Joseph's has been great. I mean, 6 years now that he's been open, survived COVID, and I used to spend a day a week in the store because I get to hang out with family and I got to see all the great customers. Unfortunately, new job requirements say, I don't get to do that so much anymore. But it is a great place and family run. When my family's great. I mean, I'm a little biased.
Right. A little bit. Yeah. Last question for you before I let you go. And it might kind of sound weird, but has there been an investigation experienced that, I'll just say it for what it is, scared you shitless? Just scared you shitless to where you were like, what am I doing? What did I get myself into? That you can share?
wasn't an investigation so much. I don't get scared often. I mean, between just having been in this field for so long, and being much more scared of humans than ghosts, and 7 years in the Marine Corps, I'm just
you experienced a lot.
yeah, right. It's hard to shake me, but ironically enough, the worst place I ever got shaken, I think, was we were doing a haunted house in Chippewa Falls. We had set it up, like for this time of year, and allegedly that there was really a ghost up there, and that it was a female, again, that didn't like men. And I was up there one day all by myself trying to get some things like locked down and decorated and whatnot, and I could not stay there. I was like, I have to get out of here. And there was a back porch area, and I went on that back porch, and I was still having problems like breathing. It was almost like anxiety. And I'm like, what the heck? I ended up calling another investigator. Actually, I called a few investigators, but I finally found one that would come and actually sit with me. I said, I don't care. You don't have to work on the haunted house. You just got to sit here with me. I mean, I don't do that. But I was so scared, I had to have somebody come and sit with me while I did the work. And once that person got there, and they were partially, not partially, they're a medium. And so I think she brought a calming sense to the place when she got there. And her and I talked for a bit, and then I got back to work and got a lot of stuff done. But that was probably one of the scariest things that I've ever felt paranormally.
Interesting. Chris, I could talk to you all the time about this stuff like this. So I appreciate you hopping by and hanging out for a little bit and getting a chat.
No problem at all, sir. Hopefully the Brewers do some good stuff in the off season.
What's the biggest need they need, do you think?
Third base.
Third base?
Yeah, I think, as much as I hate to say it, Ortiz needs to go. And they switch Terang over to short, pull Durbin over to second base, and let's go get a power hitting third baseman. Holy cow!
Yep.
I mean that was the biggest thing we were missing. When we played the Dodgers, I swear it looked like a major league team facing a college team.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hit a curveball or a breaking pitch at all. I was just like, are you kidding me right now?
Yep.
It was just embarrassing. So they need to go out and get someone that can change the game in one swing, as opposed to hailing and flailing at pitchers. Let's go out and get a bat.
I agree. Dude, appreciate it.
No, thank you, man, for having me.
Yeah. Happy Halloween, dude.
Same to you. Same to you.